Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Live broadcast of the 3R Wahoo Ride Real Race Series. We got race number 1 of 7 out here today. Amazing series put together by the 3R team. Again, that's going to be taking up our Tuesdays for the next 7 weeks. A little bit of information, and obviously starting today on Tuesday, May 12th, it's going to see races competing across 4 time zones. Each zone will have its own points allocation and will use Zwift Power Points Culling functionality, meaning that more racers taking part in a zone, the more points there are available to win. There will be separate points and GC League for the ladies and men, and all racers will start from the mixed pen. GC standings will take your accumulated times across all 4 zones. So you are going to be battling out across all 4 zones, similar to what you've seen on the WTRLs on Thursdays with the team time trial competing across all of the zones that are going out there. Points competition will take the number of points awarded for your finishing position in each event. So pretty cool what 3R put together here in conjunction with Wahoo. Wahoo's also put up some awesome prizes, Dave. And I'm Nathan Guerra, Dave Toll, obviously, as usual, but pretty cool prizes with Wahoo jumping in on board.
I am a big fan of the good folks from Wahoo. They've done a tremendous job. All the great things that are happening for them, they deserve. They support a tremendous number of athletes as well. A lot of the content that we've been enjoying during this COVID-19 time has been coming courtesy of Wahoo. So, yeah, big thank you to them. Nathan, this is my favorite day of the week. It really kicks off racing here as we get rolling. I love that smile on your face. I love your energy. I tell you what, man, during the weekends now, I miss it. So here we go. We're locked and loaded. The 3R folks do a great job and always want to give a shout out to World Bicycle Relief. Remember the good work that they're doing now more than ever. Thank you to WBR. Go to worldbicyclerelief.org and buy a bike. Send it over to sub-Saharan Africa, and you can feel better about yourself, Nathan.
I think it's only like $300 some bucks or something. It gets a full bike and changes somebody's life. So it's definitely an awesome initiative there as well. That's for sure. Racers have taken off in the A and the B category. We'll be trying to keep up with both of those today, just so everybody knows that will be on our radar, the Bs and the As. Let's go ahead and jump in with the As, though, as they're heading over toward the Seaside Sprint. Everybody, this is a Rebel route. Some of the newer viewers may not be familiar with this. Rebel routes were designed alongside Zwift Insider, and Zwift Insider went out and made some pretty cool Rebel routes alongside a lot of the community about what might be a new route you could introduce. So it's not actually a route that you can select in the world of Zwift, but you can use it in events, which is really interesting. So Seaside Sprint, it's going to be finishing along the sprint that is obviously Seaside that we're going to be going through here in just a moment. So essentially, it will become the lap banner here in just a moment, as well as the finish banners. They go through the sprint that goes over the bridge out of the Essies here in just a moment. Now, the Essies, obviously, here, Dave, the Essies, a little bit of punchers each and every lap. This is going to be a section every lap where I think people may have an opportunity to put a little pressure on the group.
Nathan, would you guess a lot of these riders are doing their recon for the first time here on this lap, seeing as how you don't get to race on this course on any given Sunday?
We have had this a couple of other times. The 3R series actually seems to... Yeah, not everybody has, though, that's for sure, but there will be plenty who are familiar with this because they do so many events. Christian McGlinchey off the front a little bit. I have a feeling he's a little bit familiar with this, and McGlinchey immediately starting to give a little bit of a kick, as you can see. Conti is there as well from Team ZF, Zwift Fitness, coming out of Argentina. He's going to be on the team of Leandro Messinillo here, and this section is going to be tricky each and every lap because they come into here at the end of the Essies with a lot of speed. And as they come over the top of this, they are going downhill into a pretty steep 8% gradient or so. And McGlinchey here immediately on the back. You see how the missed timing there maybe a little bit from McGlinchey. He might have had a dropout. I'm not sure. Something happened there for a moment there. But McGlinchey now obviously off the back. And now you can see how things kind of get interesting through here about how do you play this section, because it seems like nobody's ever really been able to figure out how do you maybe get the best out of that section, because I think there's an opportunity to break away or at least use some speed to try and cause some pain. Laverick, I'm seeing a name in there.
Oh boy.
Ed Laverick's in here. More of a hill climber though, Dave. We'll see what he can do out here for some sort of a sprinter's delight.
Nathan, I'm wondering who's going to crack the code, going back to what you were just talking about. Maybe 3 or 4 riders. Let's see. Did McGlinchey get back in, the rider out of Northern Ireland on that Beatus team? He had a big win over this last month here. He certainly notched his belt in the world of esports and racing on Zwift. He's definitely a rider to watch. There's Brett Boniface, the Canadian. Absolutely. Interesting to see these names pop up. It's hitting the big stars here as we see Brian Hodges as well. But Nathan, I'm wondering, is today the day for a breakaway? I just want to go back and reiterate that we're doing 6 laps out here, 41 kilometers the total distance. This is going to be right within the norm here, that window that these guys are used to racing. They go out very hard, but you can see, Nathan, I don't know if things have been changing over the last couple months with more in real life. The in real life races have had to adapt to the way that these racers have been doing this for years out here, and it's interesting to see. I think that's sort of that's a little bit stale as far as a story goes now, isn't it? I think most of the guys that wanted to move into the world of Zwift have at this point, and it has been a lot of fun as we've watched. Well, I mean, there are plenty of names that you see out here now that you didn't see out here 3 or 4 months ago. So welcome to everybody out in the world of Zwift. It's a great community. We've had a tremendous amount of fun. And Nathan, as we look through, I see most of our usual suspects out here, but Ed Laverick is a name that I want to go back to him as well. This course might not be hard enough today, Nathan, for him.
Yeah, that's one thing. I did see him do a little bit, some of a climbing race just the other day. I was watching his live stream. He's most likely live right now, actually. And we always want to support the live streamers out there on their personal channels. So make sure to go check out anybody that we do mention. Go give him a follow. It takes a lot to set up a live stream of Zwifting specifically. So be on the watch out for that. I do see a U.S. National Champions kit in here as well. There it is. I believe that's going to be Holden Camus. So watch out for Holden. That is a sprinter for sure on the day that we're going to be watching out for. He's going to be riding for the Saris TPC, the Pros Closet team. They just got a bunch of bikes delivered, we saw on their Instagram as well. So a lot of support there coming from the Pros Closet for their Zwift team. Very interesting to see how the sponsorships and development of the teams are going on the business side of things. But toward the front end here, though, I did see Nation's #1 beast out there. So when we're talking about sprinters, be on the watch out here as Williams has shown up on the day. We're going to see if I can find him out here. I did see him toward the front just a moment ago. Christian McGlinchey, though, he is still here, 4.3 watts per kilogram. He's found his way back to the front as we head into the volcano.
I see a new team for Cormac McGeough as well, Gerard Cycles, Nathan. They got a nice Irish backstory there as John Sheehan, the director of that squad, and that team has Irish roots is the best way to put it. Talking about Gerard Cycles, as we're again, Cormac McGeough is going to be a guy to watch. But when you hear that the nation's #1 beast, that being Corey Williams, is in this field, that certainly changes the dynamic as far as anybody who wants to sprint knows that they better bring their A game today, Nathan, because and there are some guys that will be very competitive in that conversation. We'll have a chance to talk about them here. A course like today's, it's certainly, I mean, you hedge towards thinking it'll be a larger group sprinting than maybe we normally see. Usually things whittle down into that. I don't know, Nathan. I would say on average, the group we see going to the line is less than 30 riders day in, day out. What do you think about that? The over-under on how many guys make it to the group that sprints.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, there's this. I have to say,
yeah, well,
this is a really stacked field. This is a very, I'm not sure. I mean, every week I say this. Today. Every week I say this, but I mean, the reality is every week it does seem to get more stacked. T. Williams in here as well. Tyler Williams. I mean, E. Freyer's in here. Legion has shown up with a full squad out here today. That's an in real life Conti Pro team that's, I mean, obviously taking this race fairly seriously. This is a coordinated effort to show up. On top of that, I saw obviously Cyrus, the pros class, is out here today as well. I mean, we've got full squads at this point, and the question is, have they shown up for a tactic to come to the line with the sprint? Most likely, that's probably what they're thinking, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few workhorses throw some watts off the front, try and make other teams chase. It's 6 laps, seaside sprint. They've got time to work with here, but we can't just sit around all day if they're going to do something with it. We'll see if anybody's looking for some TV time, but it may just be about the win out here today. It is a series of 7. You can risk a little bit, I would think, because I think it's your best 4 across the 7, but I got to double check on that. Definitely, though,
I think you're correct,
teams.
Though. I believe that's what I read, Nathan. Good We'll make sure. Hey, I think I realized, Nathan, what's happened here over the last couple of months. It's not that the races are harder or faster. It's that there are more guys that can animate a race. There are more guys that will be there at the end than there used to be. What do you think of that?
100%. I think there's definitely, at this point, you have an entire field that, I mean, the population of this field currently, who is sitting in this field, about 1/3 of the field are, in the mix for the win, and with that, they have a support crew that is only like 2, 3, maybe 5% max off of their ability, and like, so with all of that firepower in there, you just got a lot more coming to the line. It's like the in real life crit situation where it's just really difficult to get away when the speeds are just so incredibly high and so much firepower in there. So I think we're going to have a really big bunch group, unless with high caliber, abilities in there. If you get a coordinated effort and people sleep, once in a while it can sneak away. And we do see that maybe happening on the front here now, though. Is that going to be an SK Rye jersey, which would be a solo rider, I think, actually. SK Rye, long standing. This is going to be A. Thomas here, Crimson, with that SK Rye kid out of the UK. And that would be a solo effort off the front, though, not riding for a team that's got a big presence. Definitely had a big presence early on in Zwift racing. SK Rye, though, MTB team out of Norway, definitely maybe not quite as much as of recently in the recent esports world. But again, the kicks toward the front, this is what we said on the first lap. This is going to be a section that maybe provides an opportunity. Steepest section into a very fast downhill sprint. We'll see if anybody tries to take the opportunity here.
Yeah, well, and look who shows up. Ed Laverick right up on the front right now. I would expect, Nathan, again, very early here, 8.5 kilometers into a 41 kilometers slugfest. But okay, the cream is rising to the top right now in this group. Very few riders have been dropped. Again, the level has gone up to this a point now where there's no reason to show up and do these races if you can't maintain this, be comfortable, as hard as that is to believe, at 5 watts per kilo. So that's going to be Keo that we're looking at right now. A good mix of different teams up on the front. Nathan, there's Kirkmeyer as well, the Austrian rider, always a danger man out here. Look how international this race is as well. Again, we're right in the middle of the day here in North America, so we start to pick up really the Europeans in the evening phase. But Nathan, talk about that part of the course that they just went through.
Yeah, so that is going to be the finish, actually. Usually it's just a sprint banner out on course. They will be able to be, that is the section, though, that they're going to be looking for each and every lap to think about, how am I going to time this? Some of these might be practice laps for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly how does the group function here? How is this sprint? When's the best time to go? Those who might be a little bit more unfamiliar with this course might be thinking a lot more about what kind of speeds, what kind of timings, how does the pack descend along, and how does that left-hand turn affect my speed and the pack speed and my speed relevant to that? There is a reality of learning how the pixels function with the watts that you're putting out there out on course. And because of that, you do need to have the right timing. You do need to figure out when to go on the different courses and how that pack's going to respond. In real life, you get a lot of experience about when to go over years and years of sprinting amongst a group. And those timings. It's a whole nother world here out on Zwift. The timings can be a little bit different, and figuring those out, I do have a feeling, because of how tactical the sprint will be about when to go. The pure power of a rider, like Williams, nation's number one beast out here. I think for him, it's going to be about watching and figuring out over these next couple of laps here whether or not he can figure out that timing, as well as some of these other riders who have won out on this course before and know those timings, like the Zwift racers we see. Obviously, I would say Holden being a favorite out there with a lot of experience on this course.
Corey does a really good job speaking, Nathan, of nation's number one beast. Corey Williams out of Compton, California, does a really good, actually out of Los Angeles, California. Rasan Bahati straightened me out on that. But Corey does a really good job of not putting his nose into the wind unless he absolutely has to. He's got a really strong teammate here as well, Tyler Williams, not his brother, although he does have a brother on that team. We've talked an awful lot about that for a good reason. These are the top riders in America right now, especially when it comes to finishing a race. Today, not a criterion, but we're certainly anticipating at least some type of a sprint. Nathan talked earlier about the point on the course where you'd look for a breakaway. Nathan, referring to that sector as the S-bends, is that fair? The
The
S.
SEs, the SEs, yeah, the SEs, and
Yeah,
the
and that's
SEs,
going
a
to be
couple of punchers there.
couple kilometers away right now, but bring us through that as well, because it won't be this lap. It's a little early now. We're kind of on saute, or more on simmer before we get to saute, I would say. We're going to see, so there's a big name out of Argentina. Call him the Argentinian assassin, Messinil there. And they're coming up and over the top. So he's going to start to mix it up a little bit, Nathan. Looks like we got one rider starting to roll away here, opening up a gap. That's it. Really the first real breakaway attempt that we've seen here, coming 11 and a half kilometers in. So about a quarter of the way through the ultimate distance here. And someone wants to join. All right, Nathan, this is the anatomy of a breakaway. It's going to be Hene, and who's coming?
Looks like Turner's trying to go along with this with the dropouts. Dropouts team, look, this is a coordinated effort from the dropouts, actually. Van Heusen's on the front there, pushing 9 watts per kilogram. This is a double punch here through this section. So the 2-tier is going to be another section. So the SEs are the opportunity, and then this 2-tier into the volcano gives enough elevation to get some separation. And with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 riders, plus a Z-Sunner in there. Boniface now trying to go across as well. Downing's there from Gerald Cycle, so it looks like very well coordinated effort. Now, do they have enough bodies here to keep the speed high and keep the gap? It's a 3-second gap that can be worked with. They do have a Legion rider, it looks like, just jumping on the back, I believe. I'm looking through here, perhaps. But lots of dropouts riders. They're going to be very coordinated. They know how to work together, getting into team time trial mode with that one Z-Sun rider in there as well. So Zed-Sun, Dan J on the back, just dangling now. And the chase is on. Look at how it's stringing out. Laverick toward the front. 6 watts per kilogram coming from him. Hugo, they don't have to kick too much. They just need to tire out those riders up front. But the reality is there's enough riders there that those who are sitting in the back, the 2 or 3 in the back, could sit at that 3 to 4 that everybody in this group can sit in it at. Actually, at this point, it just becomes a TTT versus a TTT. Will this group work together? It looks like there's motivation at the front, though, Dave.
Well, and you make a great point, Nathan, because there's only going to be, when you look at the peloton now, as it starts to string out, there's only, well, and now look at this, these splits happening, but they're not letting the gap go. But there's only going to be a limited number of riders that are going to be working at the front of a peloton during a chase. It's usually going to be one organized team. But in this case now, I think that the alarm bells were ringing loud enough back to this entire group that everybody knew that they're going to have to put the accelerator down on the floorboard. It's full chase mode right now. Look at these numbers here. Everybody's going to be sitting over 5, even 6 watts per kilo. So you get a good look there at the work that they're doing in that gap. They're going to shut it down, Nathan. They couldn't play around with that one. It's just a matter of seconds now as this whole thing gets welded back together. But what that shows me is there are a lot of eager riders out here champing at the bit right now. It's going to be a really interesting next couple of laps. And again, the dropouts team, boy, do they always bring it, along with the Z-Sun squad, and that team, mostly South Africans. We're going to be seeing another attack here. It's like a ticking time bomb right now here in the peloton. 14K into 40K of racing here. Oh, Nathan, this one's going to be really interesting. Maybe it won't be as large of a group as I thought coming to the finish line together here today.
Canadian national champion Warren Mears from Team Draft is also in here, as you can see. I wonder if we're going to have a counterattack. It'd be the perfect time to do so, actually, as look at how strung out it is behind. Keeping the speeds as high as possible right now, even with any kind of punchy efforts right now to continue to string things out is going to really reap benefits for those who have made this front group or front of the peloton at this point. If they slow down here, the benefits of those efforts put in are going to be a little bit, maybe not wasted, but the reality of the damage that could have been done, as well, there's definitely some damage being done, though. Look at the back of this pack here.
Oh,
definitely some seconds here. Mike Schwartz there from the dropouts hanging on, it looks like.
There's 10 riders in trouble, Nathan.
At least here. I'm going to try and move back and see if we can find exactly who. Stephen Pink here, last lap, he was on the front. Now off the back, Spencer Downing, we can see as well. Pierre Ficati from the Bad News Bears. That's not a rider I expect to be off the back. He's trying to jump back on. Looks like Pierre Ficati's been trying to play it as smart as possible, but might have found himself in a bad situation trying to play it maybe a little bit too smart. Exactly.
Yeah, I tell you what, Nathan. Yeah, we've talked about it a million times. There was your example. If you want to play around, ride, surf the back of the group. Well, these things can happen, and sometimes it's not you letting the wheel go. It's the guy 5, 10 riders ahead of you in the group letting the wheel go, and then all of a sudden everybody's scrambling and trying to get back up into the group. And you could see, again, I would say at least a dozen riders now had to go a little deeper than you'd want to, just a third of the way into what's going to be now obviously a brutal 41K of racing over 6 laps out here on Watopia. Nathan, when you were talking about that counterattack, I could not agree more. The thing about attacking with this high level of a race is that it's not about attacking when you feel good or that you feel strong. It's about when it's in the gutter, when nobody else can go. And I think it's too early, actually, right now for that. With this much racing ahead of us and that much horsepower back in this peloton, unless you can find, I'm going to say 3 or 4 guys, and they'd have to be, I mean, guys like Brett Boniface, the Canadian, guys who are committed to working, who want to go all in on it this early. Otherwise, you're just going to be burning a match that you can't afford to waste. But
Yeah, and
you never know, do you?
now, speaking of how the damage has been done, though, here and the way in which this race is developing, I think, we said, will this split up early on? And that question has been answered. As you did say just a moment ago, 30 seconds, I think, immediately opened up on the backside of that Esses. And that was the section. It looks like they've kind of learned the rhythms of how to break things apart as well, like the limits of the riders that are around. And if you're not in the right position, you kick into the 2-tier, it looks like, keep the pace pretty high, and then a second time through, keep it as high as you can through the Esses, and it's just a little bit too much for anybody who might be off the back at that point and having to close down gaps. And so it looks like that's exactly what has happened here. And on the backside of the Esses, 37 seconds. We'll go back real quickly here. These are the last stragglers that got dropped off the back here. Another chase group just behind there, but this end is the ones who just made it back on. It looks like Boniface, Hodges at the back here. We did see Pierre Ficati just jumping on. Bowers there as well. Watch out for him from Cyrus TPC. He's been really strong sprinters really as of lately if he can hang on to the end. But I think we're going to see another attack because of those successes. I think you're going to see some confidence around the idea of attacking into the volcano. And we may see that in just a moment here again.
Timmy Bauer's a great guy out of Placerville, California. Really enjoying his enthusiasm for the sport. And that's Sarah's TPC, the Pros Closet team. But they've had some big wins here as well. They really have been the thorn in Corey Williams' side. Nathan, that's going to be the battle royale that we're going to be watching here, assuming it does come down to, well, it's going to be some kind of a group sprinting. It's hard to imagine a solo rider, although, again, you have to have a good imagination if you want to be involved in racing at this level. But the guys that are trying to live their dream would be Legion LA out here. They've been working hard. Nathan, we saw the exact same thing in women's racing with Tibco. They showed up. They did their work. They started using Discord, figuring out the ins and the outs of how it works racing on Zwift, and now they just won Tour for All. That was huge for that team. That's the biggest race. Is that the biggest win that you could have during COVID-19 lockdown era? I think so. All
likely.
the big teams have been racing. Yeah. So, and they really just started doing this a couple months ago as a squad. Well, same thing that we're seeing for some of these men's teams like Legion of LA. That's the team of Williams. We'll talk about them quite a bit. It's nice to see the Gerard Cycles team making their emergence out here as well, the Seattle-based team. Nathan, I wanted to correct myself. We've been talking about Cormac McGeough, who's in this race and looking good today as well, being in Durango. Well, he is from Durango, his life is in Durango, but he's actually not been racing at altitude. He's been in Washington State, I think caretaking family. He's been, doing the right thing. And but to his credit, he's been at sea level. So a little more oxygen in those lungs down there, that's for sure. Take a look at Brett Boniface coming out of Canada, one of the strongest Canadians without any doubt in the world of Zwift racing. And when he goes to the front, that's certainly going to have, well, look what's happening now, stringing out it's not even stringing out. Multiple gaps opening up. Nathan, they're cracking the whip on the front. Brett Boniface flogging himself like a rented mule right now. And look at this, Nathan. I think he's taking a small group with him or not. It's going to be touch and go here.
Yeah, and I think they got a little bit more privy to the dropouts tactics there, trying to make a breakaway happen. I believe the dropouts they can sprint, but I do not believe they have the same kind of all-star to-the-line talent in the sprint compared to some of the other teams here, and I think they do want to break things apart amongst these groups here. From what I've seen in my experience with the riders amongst here, I do believe that there's a couple of stronger sprinters, and that what they're trying to do here is just make sure that they whittle it down as much as possible so that perhaps later on on in the race here, they could perhaps get away if this gets whittled down enough and the group doesn't just come on and press that pace with a strong peloton effort. So if they get the numbers low enough in the peloton, we may be able to see something happen here. Now, just a quick little shout out. I do see the chatter here, and I do see the German here. Newer Zwifter, it looks like, without a heart rate, hammering off the front. Interesting to see here. We can maybe get some culling around some of this if we can maybe. But I do believe they're trying to work around it. No offense to the German. Great to see out there putting in some solid efforts, but it does look like perhaps a little bit of maybe a little bit off on the trainer setup there. We're not sure, though. But hopefully the involvement there does settle down. Just want to acknowledge it there. We don't like to just ignore things that are happening out on course here. But it looks like that with the level that we have here, they're able to work around it just fine here. Turner now, Laverick. It looks like just another obstacle on course for the riders to deal with. But Swift Carbon dropouts with Laverick. This is a solid move. Strong riders here. And hopefully the Autobus doesn't drag it up too much, though.
Yeah, Ed Laverick out of Wales becomes one of the strongest riders week in, week out that we have in the field here. He's going to get some company up here on the front. It's going to be hard to split the group right now, Nathan. Maybe a little bit of a lull as we come to the midpoint here. 6 laps out here on Watopia. Did you call it the Renegade circuit?
Rebel route.
That was
It is a rebel route. There are rebel routes that are event only that are developed by the community that Zwift put in as routes that people, specifically Zwift Insider, will feature a rebel route. And if it gets enough popularity, next thing you know, there's an event only route that you can use for it. So the rebel routes have been pretty popular, and Seaside Sprint was one that Eric Schlange and the crew over at Zwift Insider had put together and eventually got into the game. So pretty cool setup there with the community bringing popularity around things.
It is such a dynamic time for Zwift Community Live. I love all of the things that are happening. And Nathan, I want to give you credit too for supporting so many folks that have tried to get into, or not tried, but gotten into doing their own broadcasts. It's quite a challenge. It really is. And yeah, you have been an absolute leader in this community. Really want to let you know how much you're appreciated out there. As we jump in, it looks like you got the bees up there as well here over, boy, they're throwing some watts at the problem, aren't they? Taking a look at strong B field out here as well. More of our race 3R friends that we're looking at. It's Bachelor up on the front right now. Martin there as well. I see Worthington, Robinson all making the race here, but there's Mr. Webb just dangling off the front right now, but he's doing some damage here. Taking out the sledgehammer.
Just wanted to highlight real quickly the tactic here, similar from the 3R crew in the B category. So just a little bit of relationship between what the dropouts have been doing in the A category. The 3R team all on the front doing exactly the same thing. So this seems to be the tactic into the Volcano 2 tier, kick it up over the top, keep the pace very high with a attempted team time trial off the front. And look at how they're splitting things up, either taking a card out from, a lesson out from the A category with the dropouts, or maybe that's just the tactic that has been learned over time on this course specifically. It seems to be working out for them as we've got riders dangling off the back here of this B category. So interesting to see here as we head into the second half of this race. It is a total of 40K. So we'll see how things end up playing out in this B category. But solid job by the 3R boys, as we do see Modi from 3R. Lots of familiar names in this B category. Been racing Zwift for a very long time. And a very organized crew here, though, from the 3R team in this B category.
When you look at this field, our Bs right now, Nathan, there's probably a dozen teams that came into this race with a plan, a tactical battle plan, right? Only one really gets to execute their plan as far as, well, maybe more than one, to be fair. There's I can give a little leeway there. But ultimately, it's amazing how things now with the stepping up the communication amongst riders, even though they're racing all over the world on their Wahoo trainers, they certainly stay in touch. And executing that plan becomes harder and harder to do as you have more teams fighting for the front of the peloton here. And like the great Mike Tyson said, everybody steps into the ring with a plan until they get punched in the face. And a lot of teams have that happen out here. I know I've used that one before, Nathan.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Yeah. It's definitely a good one. That's for sure.
It just kind of speaks to once you get stunned out there, very rarely can a team execute at will, right? I mean, that would be De Kooning or something like that, where it's like, well, they have so many strong guys that they can just put them all on the front and they can ride the race the way they want to ride it. But boy, that takes an awful lot. And you really, I mean, what we were just witnessing with the 3R guys was them trying to execute a tactic. And it shows you that it's really, really hard to actually pull that off. They're looking at 23.8K in, same course, same number of laps out here for A's and B's. Pretty similar races, I'd have to say, Nathan, as we go back and forth between the A's and the B's here. It looks like they've both been going after it pretty aggressively, but there's depth in these fields, a lot of depth in these fields. And you can see that is this group is much larger than maybe I would have anticipated after so many riders throwing haymakers over the first couple laps.
Yeah,
this is the A's that we've got in front of us now. Yep.
We are in back in with the A's. Just want to jump back in over the 2-tier here. Freyer now toward the front. It looks like Legion now maybe doing a little bit of their own work as he hits 8 watts per kilogram. So Freyer definitely giving a kick here. Archer from Team AAA. B Downs is there from Innovation. It looks like Laverick very well set up. It looks like as we get into the back end of this race, we're over halfway through. Some of the bigger names are starting to make their way to the front, making sure they're in the right positions as the rest of the riders are going to start getting tired. Freyer now backing off the 2.2 watts per kilogram. Herod from Team Experimental on the front here into the 2-tier again. Dropouts, green jerseys. Watch them throw up the right-hand side now. As you can see, the dropouts again starting to execute what they've done every lap, trying to break things apart. Laverick is on top of it, though, as well as Herod there from Team Experimental. Brady from Evoke, Conti, Turney's there as well, it looks like. So plenty of the teams that have the experience making their way to the front. Where is Legion? They put a little bit of effort on the front here, but not involved. It looks like maybe sitting mid-pack and saying this ain't going anywhere, as we are seeing it looks like Corey Williams as well as some of the KRT teams, Cyrus TPC. It looks like some of the other teams are just not believing it. They're calling the bluff here a little bit and saying, I'm holding my cards.
Agreed. Yeah, for Corey Williams, it's he had his teammate going to the front, that being the Mexican rider, Eder Frier. Eder goes hard enough, it kind of lights the fuse. Dropouts come over the top. They're making it hard, but none of the big-name sprinters are getting dropped out of this group as far as I can tell anyways. I think that right now, Nathan, when you look at it, things like Holden Camo, right? He's hanging in there. He's not a guy that you want to see when you look around with 1K to go. Always going to be super dangerous. So, yeah, for Corey Williams, and Camo was the rider that I think Williams is maybe the most worried about, Nathan, if you were going to take an estimation there. Who are the other top sprinters that they would be trying to get rid of out of there? Holden would be one. Bauer.
McGlinchey has been so strong.
There you go.
The thing is, McGlinchey is, it seems like he's been so much of an all-arounder. It's really amazing, actually, with what he's been able to perform at. Coming to the line over the top of the Box Hill a few weeks back. Obviously in the bigger Zwift Live races that they've been putting on amongst the UCI pro teams. McGlinchey seems to be able to get it all done here. So I'll be watching out for him.
Yeah, he beat Matthew Vanderpool, didn't he, in that race? I might be thinking of it. There's been a lot going on.
It was the EF rider, I believe. I believe it was the EF rider. Might have been the EF rider.
Jimmy Whelan, I think, maybe. But
I think we're getting the name wrong there. As far as which rider it was, there's been so many involved here. But there's some big results actually to the line though, and that was out on the Innsbruck course actually.
Yeah, very challenging course. Much, I would say, more of testing than what they're on right now. McGlinchey, the Northern Irish rider that Nathan and I were just talking about, who did have, it was a world-class field, nonetheless, that he beat there. And it just shows you how the level goes up to a point now where there's no gimmies anymore, even for the World Tour pros that show up out here. Boy, they're turning the screws right now, Nathan.
This is an issue. This is an issue. Look at this. Williams just being able to jump on. Tyler Williams here. Malencia trying to get back on time. It looks like Brady knows 10 watts per kilogram. These are the key moments. If they have to go across with 10 watts per kilogram and the speed stays high and they can just grab on, McGlinchey now knows as well. Look at that, 8 watts per kilogram. And that's what I like to see. They know if they go across without the steady effort and they just jump across, they won't drag as many width, and other riders have to respond with the same speed. They cannot back off at the front now. Tyler Williams now 5 watts per kilogram, 6 watts per kilogram over the the top here. They have to keep the speeds as high as possible if they want to snap the elastic still. And it looks like it's happening. Another 6 or 7 riders. Every lap it's happening. 6 or 7 riders fall off the back. The first lap, it was like half the pack. Now it's like, can we get the real cream of the crop here, though? And it looks like that's exactly what's happening. A few more riders falling off. Do they have the effort? Mike Davis is a rider they're going to want to drop off as well. He's been sitting in so quietly. He has a killer sprint to the line. Definitely a rider who's got the punch. And rider you want to drop off, though. Now Nation's #1 beast. Wow. Corey Williams almost dropped. He definitely is sitting at this point, 178 beats per minute, looking for a wheel. Last one to make it at the back of this group is 6 seconds back to the next ones here. Obviously, the pace was insane that next time through the Essies.
Yeah, there's no wiggle room there, but he's holding on, and that might have been it as they come up on 20. So that's the look at the finish line. Everybody now in this group will be well aware. Welcome to downtown Payne City, boys. They're not going to make this one easy at all. I tell you what, Nathan, this is going to be a lot of fun. Buckle up, folks, as we've got just a couple of laps of racing remaining here out here on a circuit that is bringing out the best in this field. So let's look at some of the riders to highlight. Without a doubt, Christopher McGlinchey, and you could see there as he went across over a matter of about 3 or 4 seconds. Obviously, Christopher McGlinchey does not have a long-term plan for bridging, which is exactly how you want to do it out here. You don't want to spend time out there struggling to go from group to group, station to station. You want to make that a quick, decisive effort, as we saw there. There's Holden Camo. You can see him tagged right on the back of the group. Corey Williams has moved up. These are just some of the riders that I'd be watching for closely. Nathan, I am really surprised to see high-quality riders getting their tickets punched at the back of the group again this far into the race. I mean, we're 3/4 of the way in, and they're still going hard enough that they're dropping guys, but a peloton maintains. This is the vanguard here as they are bearing down on it over this super cool gravel. I love Zwift, this cool gravel sector here.
Just want to quickly highlight some of our followers out here. Look, I mean, Russ Crowder, I'm seeing a 3-year anniversary badge on you, Russ Crowder, as well as quite a few others that are in chat over on Facebook.
Thanks,
Russ Crowder.
Russ.
Russ, thank you so much. Those anniversary badges are so encouraging to see. So thanks a lot, everybody who is in chat and hanging out here. Just starting your journey with us here at Zwift Community Live, or if you've been along for quite a long time, we just want to just give you guys a shout out. And I have to agree with you. This course is pretty brilliant, actually. It definitely gives a lot of opportunities, it looks like, here on what could just be a sprinter's course. It also gives these little punchers at the right times, it seems like, in order. So great little highlight there. Lavik now, early attack. Interesting to see. Will he have what is needed, though, over the top of the 2-tier? This is really interesting with about 10K to go. This is a rider who can roll away, though. I've seen him hold into the 5 to 6 watts per kilogram for quite a long time. If anybody's got the effort, he does to break away. He might need a few other bodies, and it looks like Stretton as well as Anderson's trying to come across. This is the kind of a threatening rider that they do not want to let go, and you can see the front end of the pack responding very quickly to this. Will they have the effort, though, on the right-hand turn of the 2-tier here to stay away? I think this is going to set up for a counter, that's for sure.
Yeah, they've all read Ed Laverick's race resume, that's for sure. You cannot mess around with that monster, and they are able to neutralize that one pretty quickly. Well, Nathan, 2 riders now starting to separate, but this group is not going to play around at all. There's no quarter asked for and no quarter being given. Certainly from here on in. Hey, look at this. Stratton, one of our U19 riders, punching above his weight in a super strong field here.
Arrow, the new Arrow team
squad
out of Australia. Yeah, awesome to see Tully Leicester's team showing up on the day here. That is a squad to watch out for. The whole goal of that was to mix up a lot of the NRS riders into an esports team. So really cool to see Arrow jumping out here. Tully Leister also was a part of launching and helping Indoor Specialist, which is now Isaris the Pros Closet. So big force in the Zwift community. Great to see his new team out here jumping in amongst some of these top tiers now in Stratton. Looking for a big result with that U19 next to the name. Always great talent identification as well. Boniface now. Boniface.
So again, just like Laverick, right? This is the Canadian version of Ed Laverick here as Brett Boniface, one of the most talented esports racers out there today. He's going now. Boy, they're going early, Nathan. I think you've got to get some help here if you want to make this one stick. 31.5K or 31.4K into about 41 kilometers of racing. Again, another rider that has a lot of respect back to the peloton. A lot of fans too, Nathan. The way Boniface races, I noticed that we had Mari Holden, Olympic silver medal winner, and three-time Olympic gold medal winner, Kristen Armstrong, joining in, watching the racing here. It is so cool to know what has happened, and I am so happy to see those two of the most respected athletes in U.S. cycling history enjoying the racing. But I think they're going to watch the Canadian coming back into the fold. Nobody wants to work with him in a small breakaway, Nathan. I think they want to play their cards a little bit differently. I don't blame them. I would not want to work in a small break with Brett Boniface either. There's not a lot of upside to that.
Speaking of, you've been out on Zwift as of recently, I heard.
I am. I'm riding. Yeah, I'm loving it. Loving it. I fully re-engaged, and it feels so good. So, but not
good to hear.
Nobody cares about my 1.8.
Well, I care. I care. We're going up to Alp the Zwift together, right? Here we go, Dave. No, I'm just kidding. All right, quick
as long as it's
comment.
a no drop ride. Yeah.
Coming in, Liam Bauer.
Well, hey, I agree with Liam
out here. Yeah, he thinks
I
it's
agree with Liam.
Like expected winner, maybe not, because this course, it's actually thrown me for a little bit. It's been a little bit since I've commentated on this course, and it actually is surprising me as well. What a great course to be out on here. Nice job to the 3R crew, as well as Zwift Insider, for putting together this Rebel route. And, pretty great selection for a series opener here to really keep us all guessing and make the racing exciting.
Yeah, maybe today is a day for someone like Brian Hodges or Cormac McGee. We talked a lot about McGlinchey here. Maybe someone does upset the apple cart with the breakaway, because maybe, Nathan, when you least expect it, crazy things happen out here. Maybe today's going to be one of those days as we look at Laverick back up on the front. Turner, they're working. Well, these guys are working hard, trying to create a small breakaway here. Oh, man, the split's just not large enough. I mean, Nathan, I would say if you're going to the formation of one of these breaks over about 500 meters, you've got to take more than 5 seconds, or else it just doesn't quite have the momentum here. So we take a look at the Z-Sun R rider, Anderson. He's rolling like a locomotive, but so is the peloton. They're going to make the catch. Hit the reset button, folks, as we're going to have a lot of riders right now trying to scraping the bottom of the wattage barrel, looking for a win out here today. We're coming up on the finish pretty quickly as well. Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we have one more look at the finishing sector here, and then we'll be out on the last lap.
Yeah, I'm just going to double check Zwift Power for us here real quickly, but I believe you are correct there. If you haven't done so, make sure to head on over to Zwift Power, everybody. And it's a great resource. You can watch the live results as they do come in from Zwift over to ZwiftPower.com. You can see where the riders are out on course as well with the little course profile. And we are about to go into the final lap. We are about to go into the final lap, finishing up lap five here. So it is 6 laps for a total. We're looking at, they're going to be finishing around the 49.17 is the prediction coming from the live tracker here. As far as watts per kilogram, the most work done out on course currently, it looks like it's going to be Ed Laverick and Rick Anderson at 5.3 and 5.4 watts per kilogram respectively. So obviously riders that are not looking to be involved in a sprint situation. Does look like we do have Tyler Williams though, as well as another rider here giving a little kick off the front. Valencia is going as well, it looks like. So 1 lap to go. We're heading into the bell lap here, everybody. What's your prediction? We do see you were mentioning Cormac McGee. I just want to give a little shout out. We love to see all the chatter coming through from the chat here and from those who have their favorite cyclists out there. Go McGee, Gerald Sarkis, Seattle, coming from Holly. So good to see the chatter coming through and the cheering on from everybody for their favorites out there, obviously. And we'll see if Cormac can make it happen out here today. We've chatted about him a lot. I'm not sure we've seen him on the W yet, and so lots of podiums, I believe, in top 5, top 10. So maybe it's Cormac's day here out on the Seaside Sprint.
Yeah, I agree. It's only a matter of time for Cormac. He's certainly been doing the work, that's for sure. Every race has this amazing moment in it, and I don't think we've had that moment yet. This has just been a slugfest out here, but the rider that's going to make his mark, is it going to be Tyler Williams? Is that Tyler off the front right now? It sure looks like it. He's got his teammate Etta Friere out here. This Legion team doing everything they can to set this one up for Corey Williams out here today, or possibly playing the B side and looking for that, that's one of the beautiful things about having a strong team is when you send riders off the front, they have to chase you back. You do it a few times. They start to get weary of the efforts that are being made. And then maybe you crack the code and you're able to stay away as they're not trying to bring your teammate, your sprinter on your team up to you. Tactics are a beautiful thing in this sport, Nathan, and tactics apply in Zwift racing as much. Absolutely, I was going to say as much, if not more. Wouldn't say more. Absolutely, the same is the best way to put it. Tactics are king when it comes to winning when you've got such a strong field out here. Who's going to play their cards right out here? We're going to find out in the next 8 minutes.
I've seen some great comments coming on through here right now. I just want to highlight Matt Wheeler coming in through. Analysis. This race looks pretty hard. And I'd have to agree with that 100%. Pretty
Good
much
call,
the commentators have, let's summarize everything they've said. This race has been insane. But some also comments coming through for the old school, one of the oldest standing teams. Quick shout out before we head to the final Ks here. Simon Collard's out there for coming out of Belgium for the KRT team as well. And the team we haven't highlighted much today. They've been a little bit quieter as of recently, but some of the old schoolers still out here. So Simon Collard, be watching out for him. It sounds like for one of the motors, more of a time trialer, they're saying it sounds like. So we'll have to see if he can come to the line still for a top 10. Just a little shout out there for the KRT team though. Ed Laverick now setting up for the top 10. You need to be in a good position, not waste too much energy. That's what everybody's going to be looking for at this point, unless they really do want to break away. We do see Jay Barnes here. TTV in the name. If you didn't know, you see TTV, that means they are streaming on Twitch. So Twitch TV is what that does stand for. So if you do want to check out any live streams, TTV in the name. James Bars is live most likely right now with a live view of this last few kilometers. Archer here now, team AAA now making his way to the front. Hawden's there as well. Lots of verified check marks though, sitting within that top 10 to 20. Well positioned as we do see now the blue and white Technicolor. Watch out for this. That is going to be the Legion team has been using that a lot. You see them on the right-hand side there, moving up, right-hand side of the screen, left-hand side of the pack. Now we're watching, where's the dropouts? Green jerseys. Now to the front, there's a white bike jersey. Not sure who that is going to be. Laverick, though, well-positioned here. Top 5 or so as we head through the top. Boniface now making an attack. 12 watts per kilogram. Trying to get away. This is the situation maybe just to loosen up the legs. I think he's trying to set something up either to stay away or set something up so they actually keep the pressure on so the other teams have to chase. Laverick now trying to go across. He does not want a sprint situation, but it looks like he's just pulling the group as he's just coming way too fast through these rollers.
Well, again, no surprise. Certainly, I'd say about 50% of the races that we've watched over the last 2 months, this has been one of the main animators. Brett Boniface, the Canadian, opening up a gap. And Nathan, what did I say? Over 500 meters, you need to get 5 seconds. He got a little bit more than that. Okay, here we go. Throw more coal on the fire. We've got a little ways to go now. I don't want to get out in front of my skis here, but as we come up on 38 to go, Brett Boniface is going to be a big part of the storyline. The Canadian is going to have them chasing. Now, Nathan, help me out here. The dropouts, this team in green, they've got some real depth, no doubt about it. I don't see Luc Gilbeault out here. That's usually who's riding shotgun with Brett Boniface. I'm wondering if they do have a sprinter who would be setting up. I think he's gone all in here. I think this is a classic Brett Boniface sending it from way out, but look at this. They're going to shut it down. Relentless cover and kill out here today. Okay, 38.3, and I do want to be aware, I've gotten burned by this one myself. The finish is not exactly at 41K. You got to be savvy out here, like the riders themselves. Be aware that they're sprinting for that arch. Nathan, you're much, much better at bringing us to the line. There's no doubt about it, but every meter is going to matter out here today. Will we see a solo rider? It looks like Vinhusen is the rider that we've got off the Vinhusen, the rider off the front right now. But again, just a couple of seconds is the gap as they are hungry, a lot of hungry riders, and only one man gets to lick his plate clean here at the finish line.
Yeah, we're seeing Van Heusen now. It looks like the dropouts had a coordinated plan here. They keep on sending riders off the front while just having 1 or 2 riders sitting within that top 5 or so. We'll see if they do it again here, but it's going to run out of landscape in just a moment, though, I believe, to continue these tactics. And it's going to end up turning into the classic lead-out train in just a moment here. We do see Team Experimental Herod here, most likely working for Mike Davis. That's what's going on here right now. Mike Davis is going to be sitting in as close as he can. Look at the Team Experimental kits. That's going to be the black and alien on the back. black and green with the alien on the back. Davis on the right-hand side of the pack there. His lead-out man, Herod, on the front, keeping the pace high. Davis has been sitting at 4.5 watts per kilogram for the duration here. Almost a full watt per kilogram less than some of the other riders. Now I do see one of the Legion riders now going off the front. McGlinskey's looking to follow. See if we can get with who it is. It's Nation's number one beast. Corey Williams is now going.
Oh,
no, it's actually Corey here
Williams.
now. 10 watts per kilogram. Very early. What is this? Will they sleep on him? No. Cunningham goes to the front. The dropouts now are trying to close this down, Dave.
I love it. He's switching it up on him, though. Corey Williams is going to try a new plan. Okay, about 1K to go, maybe a little bit more than that. If this one doesn't work, which it didn't, at least Corey Williams is trying to go dealing from the bottom of the deck there, but they shut that down. Oh, watch out. Messinillo is still here, the Argentinian assassin moving up. You can see he is right in the sweet spot. There's another attack.
Davis goes 18 watts per kilogram. Mike Davis, he's been sitting in at 4.5 this entire time. 15 watts per kilogram. It might be too little, too late. Auclair now heads to the front, dragging the pack up here. Herod now is sitting in, not dragging the pack to his teammate. It looks like just following Auclair, maybe setting himself up. Does he have the gap here? He's going for it. 5 seconds. It might be said and done. Has Davis done it? But this maybe we'll have to see. It's going to have to be.
Davis.
He's done it. It looks like it's over. It's the sprint is for second. They can't come on that fast. Mike Davis can almost have time to put his hands in the air. What a situation here. Or is it not? Hodges is coming on. Look at how fast they're coming on. It's going to be right to the line. Brian Hodges holding commute, but he made it happen. Holden grabs it at the line, it looked like, but Hodges for third, I believe. McGlinskey was in there, but Mike Davis puts his hands in the air, looks over his shoulder and says, well, look at that, boys. I got you this time. I mean, that was so classic situation where you get the upset, the kick over the top. We said it. We said that it may happen over the top there of that 6% gradient, Dave. Every lap we saw the kick right there. What a move by Mike Davis.
Well, that's why we do this right there, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Davis shows the heart of a lion. He came out of the woodwork on us, Nathan. That's a beautiful, beautiful way to win. I'm not going to forget that one, Mike. Congratulations. As they say in Belgium, proficiat. Congratulations.
That was pretty awesome. Pretty amazing here. I do have results coming in for the A category. But real quickly, guys, I do have we want to start bringing in the whole community. We do as much as we can for the whole community, not just the elite racing. And so we do have a B category race that's looking to finish right now. So let's go ahead and jump in with them real quickly. They have it looks like about 3 kilometers to go. We definitely want to highlight everybody as much as we possibly can. So let's go ahead and jump in with the B category as they finish up their race. Then we'll take a look at the replay as well as the official, the preliminary results, as we do have the results in for the A's. But let's see how this B category is finishing up their race as well. Let's see how this has gone. And as we do look at this, it does look like it is going to be, there may be a breakaway situation actually here. As I'm looking
a lot of race
here,
3R guys up near the front, which, Nathan, maybe they've got someone off the front. Maybe not, actually. I think right now it's all come back together here. This is our future stars. No, oh, there you go. Looks like the catch just being made. Apologize there. All right. About the same size group as we just saw with the A's.
And we
that was quite a finish.
To the front. That was an amazing finish. We'll jump in with that replay. I'm just grabbing it here in just a moment here. But it looks like these riders here.
Everything's copacetic right now, Nathan, with this group. So one rider starting to roll off the front. I'll give you a holler while you're digging that up. As right now it is Grupo Compacto. I think most of the gentlemen here will be pretty happy to get a crack at this sprint. Positioning really does matter. We saw that attack from Corey Williams. Started to string out that group. Mike Davis comes over the top. That's the A's race that we just witnessed. We'll be back with that replay, but right now we got a double bill for you here, as this is our B men. So if you're wondering what's the difference between an A or a B, well, basically if you think FTP, your focus threshold power, these guys just a one notch lower, triple A versus major league when you look at the heavy hitters that we just had in the A's race. But plenty of these guys will be in that A's race by the time we're doing this 2 months from now. This is a 7-race series, the 3R Wahoo Ride Real Race. And our friends at Wahoo just do a tremendous job of being a part of this Zwift community. They're their
Real
own
quick shout out
entity.
to,
Yep.
everybody, there is something we do definitely have liked to highlight for a long time here is that, these categories are set up based on their functional threshold power. And so all of these riders are getting the opportunity then to ride against other riders that are around their same ability. So effort is effort
Level playing
at the
field,
level,
right? Yep.
at the level that you're putting out. So these guys are suffering and putting out an effort. It might not be the same wattage, but their effort for their ability level is just as much. Working is working at a certain point.
Perceived effort and perceived pain might even be higher in
Yeah,
this
I'd have
group,
to.
right?
As not quite as much fitness is what you're getting at.
Yeah, they don't.
So
They
it's
don't.
going to
They
hurt
haven't
a
spent
little
as much
more.
time in that neighborhood. Yeah.
Now we are seeing a little bit of a copy here. Now Bachelor maybe going early. Will we see a similar thing in the B category with somebody going? There's a lot of these riders are probably watching the broadcast going, I maybe want to try what Davis did there.
Good luck. You're going to have to dim the power grid out here in Watopia to do that. He was making huge numbers. But again, I encourage you to try because the risk reward, in order to win out of this group, one of you guys is going to have to take a risk, aren't you? Maybe it's you, and there you go. I love it. Lighting a fuse. Here we go. It's the Brit Webb going hard, and he's timing this perfectly, Nathan. So, all right, supernova of a human being. The gap is growing. 4 seconds right now. The chase is coming. Webb has gone all in. He just took a huge pile of chips and pushed them into the middle of the table. It looks like Martin for race 3, our host club here, is going to be chasing. Can he come up and over the top? They are going to run out of real estate really quickly here. These boys are bringing it home. The horse can smell the barn and is flat out galloping now. This field is shattering behind them. It's every man for himself. Gentlemen, we've got an OSS situation. Only the strong are going to survive this finale. So this B group, it looks like it's going to be RB of the Dirt BC team. Now he's going to make a surge. Is there enough in the legs here? They're coming. They're relentless. Unbelievable, Nathan. This might be the move that sticks. The finish line comes up incredibly quickly here now.
He's fading.
Just get over the bridge. The line is right there. Is it enough? One last trip to the bottom of the wall, making a catch. I apologize. That's the front finish line going to be here in a moment. There it is.
Shuey, Bark, RB followed up, it looks like, by Whaley. We'll take a look at those results as well. But what a kick there. It looked like by Shuey coming over the top from Team Evo out of Canada that was able to take that at the line. So we'll be able to grab that.
I don't even have to know what I'm calling to get stoked.
Absolutely love it. Let's take a quick look, though, at that replay. We do have that up here. This is the move from Davis. He went out this is amazing move actually coming from Mike Davis. I'm going to go ahead and bring this in here and look at Davis. Here's where he went. 18 watts per kilogram, 1252 watts there from Davis. What a kick, as you can see here, and held on a little over 1,000 over the top, and that's what gave him the gap and the speed. Was over the top of that 6% gradient and gave him enough wiggle room to work with here. And because he continued on this downhill over that top, and the riders behind were only at 7. As you can see, the match in wattage was not even close. So their speed in the group was not anywhere near to what Davis's was over the top there. That's why he gets this 4 to 6 seconds, and it is enough to hang on all the way to the line. I wasn't sure, though, when we saw it in chat.
By the time they started chasing, it was way too late. Right. I mean, by the time they're even starting to match his numbers at the front of the chase, he's got 7 seconds.
Look at that.
And
Williams goes 16. He leads it out. Look at that.
And so, those numbers are going to be huge. Those numbers are going to be huge, but it's way too late. Well, not way too late, but it shows you the timing, right? It's split second. Because if this had been another 30, 40 meters, Davis doesn't win. But it wasn't. He timed it perfectly. That's a really good look. The arch is a little hard to see at the back end of the bridge right there, this trestle bridge. But he, at this point now, I can only imagine.
Look at him fading, and he's maybe like, maybe this isn't going to work. Oh my goodness, I gotta hold on. Oh man, you can just feel it at this moment here. And Hodges is coming on at 14 watts per kilogram. Look at Holden, 15 comes through at the last second. Look at the timing from Holden.
And that's amazing. Not 10 meters. It's not 10 meters, and you're catching him 30 meters past. Nathan, I've said it before. In order to win, you have to risk losing. What does that really mean, right? That if you're not brave, if you don't have courage, don't expect to be on a podium, because that spot is reserved for those that race with heart. And Mike Davis, That's you. You're the gold standard. Look, Holden getting up there for second, and Brian Hodges for third. Stefan Kirkmeyer, the Austrian, ending up in fourth. We got, hey, the 19-year-old Dalton Stretton in top five today. George Mills Keeling in sixth. Christopher McGlinchey from Northern Ireland ends up for the Venus team in seventh. Then we have Juan Cruz Araldi, Warren Meir for ninth, and Brett Boniface, the Canadian, for 10th. That's the A field.
Coming in for the A's, solid results there. We'll see if we got the populated results here for the B's. I believe we will. Yep. And it was Richard Shoebridge coming on through with James Bark. And then Rich B with that solid chase from the Dirt team coming on in and able to secure that third place. Thomas Whale, Chris Whaley, Russell Batchelor, 3R representing. Timo Hennanen, and then Barry Pope, Jono Martin, and then Simon Oxenham, the old school. Good to see Soxenham. That's his nickname from way back, actually. The Soxenham has showed up for a top 10. Good to see you, Simon, from Team Experimental out there as well. Not sure if the C category. No, none of the rest of these are going to be populated as of yet, everybody. So we're just going to leave those alone as it takes a little while to get around the course, obviously, as it is a staggered start. But great start. This was an exciting race today. Seaside Sprint, 3R Wahoo. That was a lot of fun, Dave. And great. I mean, the riders looked like they were just hammering, getting an amazing workout and some cool results.
Yeah, the racers make the race. I didn't expect this course to be as thrilling as it was. So thank you. Again, Nathan, great job. All our riders really love having you out here. We're going to have a really good week of racing out here on Zwift. So come on, let's get it on.
Yep, tomorrow, USA Cycling League. Make sure to be here for that. The schedule has actually been released on all the socials, so make sure to go check that out as well. We'll be here, obviously. This is the first of 7 for the 3R Wahoo Ride Real Racing Series. So if you want to jump into the series, you can as well. There's plenty of racing left to go, as well as the rest of the broadcast this week. So thanks a lot to all the viewers. Great job to all the racers out there, as always. I'm Nathan Garrett, Dave Toll. We'll see you tomorrow for some more Zwift Community Live racing and commentary. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Right on.